Hello, everyone. Are you tired of having to work hard for your money and not having enough time to enjoy life? Are you ready to create a six-figure business that provides financial security and freedom? Then you come to the right place. Welcome to episode 48 of Talking Business with Ritz. Hello. I was just checking if we are live. Okay, my name is Ritzel Loredo Rectra, the owner of Mighty Chow Virtual Solution. We specialize in digital content creation, social media management, admin, back-end support, and process automation. So our goal is for you to be more productive while you delegate as we streamline your process so your business could thrive without being overwhelmed. So anyway, we are now streaming on my Facebook group and my YouTube channel. We are also streaming on my Facebook profile right now. So if you are watching with us right now, kindly comment hashtag live so we know that you are here with us. And if you are watching us, catching us on replay, comment hashtag replay. All right, let's start the show. So, to be successful in business, we need to find people who have skills and talents that we lack so that we can learn from them and move our business forward. So, in this show, you'll get a small win or takeaway from the value bombs that we will be sharing with you once a week and hopefully be inspired to move closer to your success. Now, the main purpose of this show is to give back to the community of online entrepreneurs and of course, to get to know the human behind the title before the offer. Okay. Now, building a six-figure business while working smarter, not harder, while still having plenty of time to enjoy life and have fun along the way. Now, making the most of your time, learning how to automate and delegate tasks while still maintaining a healthy work-life balance. Now, generating passive income streams that you can enjoy long term and start living the life you want with financial security and more freedom. With the right strategies, you can have the best of both worlds. Okay, our guest for today is a sales coach. She helps coaches and marketers to attract consistent clients by showing up as their most authentic selves. In today's episode, our special guest will be sharing with us three topics, which I'm going to show you right now. So, the first topic would be attracting consistent high ticket clients with authenticity. Second topic would be soulful sales. So, say goodbye to objection handling for good. All right. Now, the third topic would be creating magnetic brand authority. All right. So I've been with her. I joined her challenges. A lot of her challenges last time, and I had implemented most of it. All right, and it was fun and informative. So this episode would be a lot of fun and interesting as well. This live expert interview. So without much ado, and I'm very nervous. Okay, without much ado, let me introduce our guest for today. Where's my drum roll? Where's my applause? Yeah, we have Coach Elsie Nora. Hello, Coach.
Hi, thank you so much for having me. That was so sweet.
I'm getting so nervous right now.
Don't be. It's just us chatting. That's all, and delivering value.
Okay, welcome, Coach Elsie, to episode 48 of Talking Business with Ritz. Let's greet our audience right now.
Hi, everyone. Thank you once again so much for having me.
All right. Now, in today's episode, it will be about six-figure business while having fun, creating a six-figure business while we're still having fun. All right. Now, as I mentioned in the beginning of the show, we want our audience to get to know the person behind the title before the offer. So we'll start with the question: where are you located right now?
Where am I located in the world, you mean? In Spain. I live in Spain. I live a digital nomad lifestyle, so I don't like to be tied to a place. Yet I fell in love with Spain, and here I am 3 years later.
Wow. Where are you originally from?
Originally, it's complicated. I am half Bulgarian, half Russian, but grew up in Malta and then been traveling quite a bit ever since. So I like to say international.
Okay, you are a global citizen then.
Exactly.
All right. So I'm going to ask you a series of random questions. Are you ready?
Please go ahead.
Okay, now Coach Elsie, what is your favorite word and why?
Wow, that is a brilliant question. I've never been asked this before. My favorite word, I think, would be vibrant.
Vibrant. Why?
Yeah. It's actually very interesting. I had a coaching session with an NLP coach a while ago, and as we were digging deeper into like my perspective of who I want to be seen as, vibrant was
Mhm.
the word that always came up for me. And every time I show up online, every time I create content, every time I try to come back to myself, if I've been in a rut, I always think about the word vibrant, and it kind of brings me joy. So yeah.
Yeah, you're looking vibrant today, actually.
Thank you. That's the best compliment.
All right. So, next question. On a scale of 1 to 10, where 10 is the highest, how weird are you? How unique are you?
Oh, 12?
All right. Well,
How
how
about
is
you?
that? I think I'm 101.
Okay, I like that. How come? I think that in general, being authentic and coming to yourself is a journey, and it's difficult because we all are unique. I truly believe that all of us have our own uniqueness and our own differences, but we are taught by society to fit in and to
Yeah.
do our best to be like everyone else. And it takes a really long time and a lot of work to kind of get back to who you were and to be your authentic self online. So after lots of work, I would say 12.
All right. 12 it is. Let's
How about
acknowledge
you? You said 101.
I'm 101.
Love it.
I'm one of a kind.
Exactly.
Yeah. So let's acknowledge one of our live viewers. Hi, Jeff. Thank
Hi,
you for
Jeff.
being here. Yep. All right. Let's move on. So, with your background and accomplishment as a sales coach, is there anything that you think you need to improve on?
Oh, for sure. There is a lot more to improve on. I think that, again, as people and especially as coaches, it's our job to constantly seek improvement and to constantly get better for the sake of our businesses, for the sake of our clients, for the sake of helping our families, right? So to answer your question, you're full of great questions today. So the question was if there is anything that I need to improve on, right?
Yes. Yep.
Yeah. In what perspective? Like in business perspective?
Yeah, since
Yeah.
we're talking business, so it's gonna be
Yeah. I would say that in general in business, something that let's say one of my goals for the year and a half coming up is definitely to outsource more to grow my team full time, so I can of
Mhm.
course get even more free time and be
Ah,
able to serve more people.
nice. So grow team full time,
Yes.
so you can have fun full time.
Exactly. I
All
do
right.
believe that businesses are fun full time in general, but one, of course, reaching more people, maybe expanding to more platforms and growing my audience, being able to serve more people while, of course, having more fun, even more fun.
Right. But you are currently in Facebook and Instagram, right?
Instagram, not so much anymore. I am on
Mm.
TikTok a lot. At the moment, I am TikTok obsessed.
Oh, okay. Right. So tell me something that's true that almost nobody agrees with you.
Oh, that the size of your audience doesn't matter. Everyone is focused after and is chasing vanity metrics. They want to get 200 likes on their posts. They want to have the comments. They want to have like X many thousands of people following them. And that means nothing, in my opinion. That means literally nothing because you can have all the people in the world following you or engaging with you, but they still don't want to buy from you. They still don't truly resonate with your brand. So
Mm.
I'm always a huge advocate for rather having 100 people in the audience, like, and those people being actual fans and being genuinely interested in what you do. And for example, my Facebook group, I've had it for almost 3 years now, and it's at 500 members. I recently deleted again 300 people from there because even if, first of all, to get accepted is not easy. Even though it's a free community, because I really want it to be a community. I want it to be a place where people can connect with each other, can feel safe, and can really learn from me and expand rather than just another group that you're part of. And also,
Mhm.
once you join, if they don't seem to be interested with the topic, they don't respond to my messages, again, like they're out. So I'm a huge believer in having a genuine community, right? Because this word is very much overused in our space, but actually building a genuine community and genuine relationships with rather a few people than having thousands of people who don't really don't really care about you. So yeah,
Yeah.
I think that would be it. Vanity metrics.
So follow up question. So you
Mhm.
said you have 500 members with your group, right? Within your group, and then you remove like 200.
350 or something. I
300.
had
Yeah,
more.
300.
Yeah.
Ah,
No.
so
I had more. Now I have
mhm.
500 because I keep
Ah,
it.
okay. All
Yeah.
right. So how do you like engage with them? Do you message them? How do you decide to delete them? That's what I'm
Yeah.
trying to say.
Yeah, that's a good question. First of all, I try to know everyone who joins my group by name. So I try to message most people and just be like, hey, welcome. Thank you so much for being there. Is there
Uh,
anything that you want to see more of? So I really want to make sure that the topic is relevant to them. And when I did the big cleanse, like recently with 300 plus members, what I did is I tried to message most of the members that I don't really know by name. Let's say,
uh,
I know you by name. You comment on my posts sometimes. We've chatted in DMs. So I'm not
mm,
gonna delete you unless you are offensive to someone, right?
mm,
Obviously. But the rest of the people, let's say there were these 300 plus people that they never responded to my welcome message. They never engaged with my stuff. Some of them didn't even accept my friend request. And then what's the point? Like they don't see my stuff. And if anything, they only harm the members. Because, for example, if you create a group event, you can only invite 500 members to it.
yeah.
Usually those 500 members are by default. And what happens is that the invitation is going to go to a bunch of people who won't even open it, and the actual people who want to learn from me will not see it. So that's why for me is it's very important to have rather a small community. I still have
Mm.
after years probably like 5,000 to 6,000 people across all platforms. That's it. And in my group, I keep it very, very small because I give so much value on there pretty much weekly. I do workshops, trainings, etc. So I really want to make sure that the people who are in there actually do
Mhm.
benefit from it.
That is a mic drop.
My favorite.
Yeah, yeah. You find so much time in actually engaging with your members, right? You
Yeah,
give
I
them.
think it's. I mean, if they were more, if they were, let's say, in the thousands, it would be a little bit more difficult. But I also have a member on my team who's helping me out with that. So I'm not the one who does it. Like, depends when I'm sending a welcome message because every week you get maybe 20, 30 new people joining a group.
Yes.
Maybe 50, maybe five. It depends. But even if it's 50, you can do it. It's like 10 minutes of your day every day, and you have
Mm,
your message templates, right? So you're not doing it from scratch.
yeah, yeah.
But when I was doing the cleanse, I wasn't doing it myself because, quite frankly, it's a very tedious task. And as you know, I like to have fun. So I outsource this kind of things.
Okay, understand. All right, now, are you ready for this next question? It's a little bit serious.
Absolutely.
Okay, now between money or time, which one will you choose first?
Definitely time, because you can always make more money, but time not. Time is the most valuable asset that we have, and we really need to cherish it more.
Yeah, true, true. For me, it's the same thing. So others says they said that you need money to make money, or you need money to make time.
That's true, but if you don't have time, how are you going to make money?
That is true too. It's like chicken and egg.
Yeah, or you can have all the money in the world, but if you don't have time, how are you going to spend it? When are you going to have fun? So yeah, I think for me that's a very obvious one.
All right, money it is. So in one of my posts, I used the quote from 𝘸𝘸𝘸𝘸, which says, "Easy choices, hard life. Hard choices, easy life." Now, would you say that you had made hard choices in your life?
1000%. Quite a few of them.
Right. Would you like to share something related to your business that you had? You know.
Yeah, I think the one of the hardest choices, and the one that most people are afraid to do, and I also don't exactly recommend you doing it the same way as me, but when I very first, like at the very beginning of my entrepreneurship journey, I'm not sure how much of it you know, I was prior to starting my business, it was something that I've always wanted. It was always a dream of mine to start a coaching business, to be able to impact more people, to have my business fully remote, to travel. But I had no idea how to do it. And I had this idea in my head, which I think many people can resonate with, that one day this brilliant idea is going to hit you and you will be a millionaire. But it doesn't quite work out this way, right? You need to start before you're ready, because if you wait until you're ready, it's not going to happen. And I was in a situation, I used to live in Vienna, Austria at the time, and I was living there with my partner. And what happened was we were running an Airbnb business together. We were happy to a point, and then we realized that we were both not growing anymore because we were
Mhm.
together. So I had to say goodbye to him. I had to say goodbye to our business. I had to go back to a job. I was working in a souvenir shop because my German was poor. I was living with 4 flatmates, all guys, which don't even ask me about the kitchen. And then after that, I was still unhappy. I was really confused with where I was going with my life. I had to say goodbye to a lot of things that were really important to me. And what I did was, one day I realized that I had two choices. Most people would continue being sad. I was so depressed. I was crying on the subway, crying at work, like crying at home. I was really, really depressed and very confused with where I wanted to go in life. And I did like most of us do. I went online. I was like, how to make money online, how to start a coaching business. And actually on YouTube, I found a coach that I really resonated with. I saved up for a couple of months. I packed my suitcases. I quit my job without even having made a single dollar online. I quit my job. I packed my suitcases. I left Austria. I moved to Spain. I lived in literally the ghetto for about a year. Trying to make ends meet, and
Yeah.
until I started making consistent sales, I barely had any furniture in my apartment. So yes, in short, I definitely have made some very hard choices that most people wouldn't do. Most people wouldn't sacrifice a business that's already working for the sake of
Mhm.
chasing it, wouldn't sacrifice a relationship for the sake of growing themselves. They wouldn't sacrifice the comfort of having a job and getting monthly incomes for the sake of their dreams. So I 1000% resonate with this quote, and that's just a few examples. But I most certainly do believe that unless you do hard choices, and I'm not saying quit your job and move abroad, right? Not at all. Like break up with your partner, not at all. But we do need to make hard choices. Even starting a business itself is a difficult choice.
That is
And
so true. Yes.
experimenting, right? Like putting yourself, your face on YouTube or on TikTok or on Facebook, it's a difficult thing. So you need to make those choices in order for you to grow.
Yeah. It is. It is very difficult. Like the first time I went live, I did a lot of practice. Like I don't know how many times I re-record myself before I actually go live.
Weird. I would never be able to tell. Honestly, you feel like a natural now.
Whoa. Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, so that is very inspiring, Coach Elsie. I would never do that. What else?
Most people wouldn't. And again, I'm not recommending it. That's why I always start the
Yeah,
story with like, I'm not telling anyone to do that. It was crazy. But it was the decisions that made me who I am today. I genuinely wouldn't be living the life that I'm living right now if I didn't make those choices. So
true.
it was just my path.
I'm gonna be scared.
I was terrified. Terrified. But it all worked out.
Yeah. All right. So Coach Elsie's goal is to be, to help people to build six-figure income while still having fun. So, Coach Elsie, in the next 5 minutes or less, kindly talk us through how you've started and found success as sales coach, in addition to what you've already mentioned earlier.
Yeah, so good that we already have the beginning of the story.
Yeah.
So let's pick it on from there. So I'm moving to Spain, right? In 2019, I think it was about September 2019, I invested pretty much almost all of my savings, or a huge chunk of my savings, into a mentorship program. And I had an apartment. Luckily, I had from my family an apartment that no one was using at the time. It was in a
Mhm.
terrible neighborhood. It had no furniture in it. I had a bed and a dining table. That's about it. But I was like, okay, I don't mind. I will make it work. I just really needed a place to collect my thoughts and build momentum online and figure out what can I even do, right? Who can I coach? And at the very beginning, actually, I started as a public speaking coach and confidence coach for women in business. So that was my niche for the first, like, I would say less than a year, like 6 to 8 months. And those were actually my first clients. And the very beginning of my journey started this way. But shortly after, I realized a couple of things. One, that the mentorship program that I invested all of my money into was teaching strategies that I didn't feel aligned with. I wasn't
Mhm.
resonating with them anymore. It was a lot about chasing, copy pasting, spamming people, slapping your links, and it was just draining my energy so much. It was draining my soul, and also I had to go through hours upon hours of sales calls with people who didn't really want to be on a call with me because I was going after them, like, hey, do you want this? Do you want that? And it was really not working for me. And the second thing I realized it was my niche was not something that fulfilled me either. Like, I do enjoy talking about public speaking. Like, a lot of my courses and programs are about talking on video, which is very similar to public speaking, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And
Mhm.
so public speaking and confidence on camera is still somewhat part of what I coach, but I felt really limited. And I felt like I could do more, and I felt like it wasn't exactly my mission. So
Mhm.
in the of 2020, I took another huge leap, and basically, after paying like $3,500 to be in this program, I quit
See?
it. Yeah, I was like, I'm sorry, thank you so much. It was all of my savings, almost all of my savings.
Yeah.
I quit it after investing everything in it. I was like, you know what? I cannot do this anymore. It's not working for me. I think I made only like 1,500 for the first like 8 months of my business. Like, I'm spending 10, 12 hours a day in front
Mhm.
of my computer, and it was getting very draining. So I quit and I started looking into organic marketing or attraction marketing. And actually, I stumbled upon a course at the time that was about Facebook organic marketing in particular. And I did take it, and it changed the game for me. I think I watched the course within like 24 hours or 48 hours. I watched everything. I was like, I love this.
Fast. Okay.
I put it into work pretty much immediately, because also the thing is that when you're in a situation in life like I was, my savings were running out. I was maxing out my credit cards. All of my family friends, no one believed in my dream.
Mhm.
And I sacrificed so much, right? Like steady income, relationship, previous business. So I sacrificed so much to be there. I was like, I need to make it work. So I would do anything in my powers to make it work. And I think it's a scary place to be, but also very, very powerful, because there isn't much worse that can happen at this point. So I did implement everything, and very shortly after, I think like 2 3 weeks after I started applying like proper attraction marketing strategies, I had my very first paid in full client, and she came to me. I didn't even promote. She came to me out
Mhm.
of nowhere. She was like, "Hey, Elsie, can we hop on a call? I want to work with you." I was like, okay. We hopped in a call. It was like $1,500 paid in full. I was like, This never happened to me before. My previous clients were $400 for the same amount.
Yeah.
And it was the very first time that I was like, okay, I can charge more, I can do more. And it worked out. She came to me, it was so easy. And shortly after, I think a little bit after that, I think, I actually started being invited for more and more collaborations. And I realized another thing is that I always preach that in order for you to be successful online, you need to find some sort of pattern interruption, which can be, let's say, if everyone is, let's say the example, I realized everyone was posting long form long form written content. It was all over Facebook, but most of us don't have the time to read through a long post, right? Or if we do read your post, we need to really look up to you in order to do that, or be really interested. And there was this huge fight for attention, and it was also very boring for me because I don't like writing. I like talking. I like being on camera. That's not for me now.
Yeah.
And I started using the story feature. And once I started showing up on stories, on video, and just sharing silly stories and talking about my day and things like that, giving tips, I realized that I started getting more and more people asking me, how are you doing that? Can you advise me, etc. So I decided to make a little test. And for about a week, I was promoting. I literally 5 times showed up in my stories and promoted, I think it was a masterclass for between $37 and $47 or $67. It was something like that, very low. And I filled up over 60 spots with 5 short videos in my stories. And it blew my mind. And actually the training was about stories. And the thing about pattern interruption is that I realized that everyone was doing the same thing over and over and over and over again. But nobody was paying attention to this huge potential that was at the time in stories. There still is, but there is more people using it now. And I really realized people don't have enough knowledge on this topic. I do. I tested it. It worked for me. Let me help people. And that was the birth of one of my flagship programs, which now has over 100 people in it, which is Stories to Sales, and it's all about the story feature and so on.
I attended your challenge last time.
Yeah, the challenges were great. Yeah. And even the challenges. One of the years, last year, I filled up the challenge with over 200 people, a free challenge with literally holding it for a week in my stories. That's it. So basically this was the beginning of my sales coaching career. Even though prior to working online, I had experience in sales, I didn't feel confident enough to start with that because I didn't have experience in the online space as a coach. Once I started seeing results and I started getting people asking me more and more questions, that was the moment when I realized that it was time to kind of make that shift. And ever since I've been a soulful sales coach.
Yes, very interesting and a very fun journey to watch.
Thank you.
All right, so we are now moving to the second half of our show. Now, for those who just came in, this is Ritzel Loreto Rectra, your digital content creator and process automation specialist. I have here with us Coach Elsie Nora, sales coach. Okay. Don't forget to join our group, Talking Business with Ritz, to watch the replay. Okay. To know more about Coach Elsie as a person. You're going to be so inspired on how she started. All right, now Coach Elsie is here to share with us about 3 topics that will help us have an idea how to build a 6-figure business while working less and have more fun. Okay, let's start with the first topic. Our first topic, again, I'm going to show it on the screen. And let me just run Coach Elsie's website as well. All right. Come on. Let's talk business. Let's start with the first topic, attracting consistent high-ticket clients with authenticity. Now, what do you mean by this, Coach Elsie?
Yeah, so as we were talking earlier about what is taught out there, majorly, what is taught is that you need to copy everyone else. You need to show up online like everyone else. You need to try to fit in. Or even like at this very first program that I invested all of my savings into, it was all about chasing people. So at the time, we were trained to go ahead and send 25 cold messages on LinkedIn and say, "Hi, my name is Elsie. This is what I do. If you're interested, here is my link." Or, "What are you struggling with?" And then we had like 2 or 3 scripts that literally you go over again and again and again. And I used to send like 25 cold DMs a day. But as I mentioned earlier, I was really struggling financially. I risked a lot to be there. So I needed results as soon as possible. And after like 25 DMs every single day, I realized it wasn't working. And I spoke to my mentors. I was like, "Hey, I need a better strategy. I need something else. This isn't for me." And what they told me was like, "Okay, start sending 50. I was like, "Okay, I'm going to do that." I went ahead, I started sending 50, and I was already dreading it, right? And then I went back after a week or two. I was like, "This really isn't working. I really need to make sales. I'm very motivated. I work for 12 hours a day, but I'm not getting anywhere. Like, I need help." And they told me, "Don't worry, start sending 100. And that was the moment when I tried it for a couple of days, and I noticed that I quit my whole life in order to build a business that is fun, to be my true self, to really enjoy myself, to help others embody their own version of the freedom lifestyle, because I also truly believe that it is completely different for everyone. We get sold a lot of like Lambos and big mansions, but it's not for everyone, right? Everyone has their own version. So we're being sold a lot of those things. And I realized that like I sacrificed everything for this, for literally getting out of bed, making a coffee, sitting in front of my laptop and just pasting and getting rejected, pasting and getting rejected. I wasn't building a brand for myself. Literally, if I broke my arms tomorrow, that would be it with my business, because I wouldn't be able to paste. And I realized that this wasn't sustainable. And that is why the reasons why one of the things that I teach and I talk about a lot and I will never get tired of is showing up as your authentic self. I love that you mentioned earlier that that it took you a long time to actually show up online, right? To show up and do a live training. And I have about 4 years, 3.5 years of experience as a live presenter before working online. Yet I was terrified too. And I still am sometimes. I still get nervous during lives. It still takes me sometimes like 5 tries, 10 tries to film a story. It's absolutely normal. I think we are being sold this like perfect idea that you need to be perfect, everything needs to be so natural. It's not like that. We are human, right? And a lot of people, like especially marketers, kind of want you to think that they're not, but we are. And struggle, right? It's a struggle. Sometimes it's a struggle. It's normal. Like I have sometimes weeks when I just really don't want to work and I'm just not feeling it. And luckily, I was able to build a business that allows me to do that. If I really feel like not working, I can reschedule my appointments and take a vacation for a few days, go to the mountains or fly abroad somewhere. And that is the beauty of like showing up and figuring out, first of all, what is your own version of success. And it's also something that I work with my private clients always in one of the first sessions. And I think for anyone, like it's an exercise that I can give you to do right now, is your perfect day. Sit down and really determine, what does your perfect day look like, right? In the perfect universe environment that everything goes your way, like what would your perfect day look like? Yes, of course, for some people it would be Lambos and big mansions and things like that. For someone else, it will be just playing with their kids or even playing with their dog. Or for someone else, it might be just reading books in silence. Like that's me, a huge chunk of the but at the beach, reading books at the beach. So really sit down and outline what that perfect version of you, what is the life that they're living? Like, what do they eat for breakfast? What are they going to have for lunch? Like, are they working? Like, do they have meetings? Are they just like writing emails? Do they have a team? Are they retired? Like, what is happening in that perfect vision of the perfect life for you? And keep on chasing that, keep on going after that. And that is also the reason why a lot of people kind of overlook their own ideas, even though it's like, it sounds counterintuitive. A lot of us, like I know it happened for me as well. Exactly the example with Lambos, like a lot of the mentors and the coaches that I saw in the online space were all doing that. And they were all like, oh, this is kind of what we all have to want, right? But it wasn't it for me. And I started realizing that I wasn't seeing anyone who was looking like me. For example, I have tattoos, right? Now you can see them all the time. I never hide them or anything like that because it's a part of me. But at the very beginning, I had this idea of, again, like, for some reason in my head, I thought that a successful coach, especially someone successful business owner, is very professional. So in my head they were wearing button ups and being like always so stiff and so slow and professional. And it's not who I am. I am vibrant, as we talked. I am
Yes,
full
you
of
are.
Thank you. I am full of energy, and it's just who I am, right? And I really tried to fit in the box. So I would literally have like client calls, and I would always, even if it's like 100 degrees outside, like Fahrenheit, I would be with a button up and like trying to hide my tattoos, trying to always look so professional, and trying, let's say, not to swear online, or not to really show who I am, because again, I'm human, I swear. And once I actually opened that shell, and I was like, how about being myself?
Yeah.
Maybe, I love to dance in my stories because it's something that I do in my free time anyways. Like, I love music, so I would always sing and dance around the house half of the day. So one day I was like, why not like take my camera out and film that kind of behind the scenes? I didn't do it for sake of like, let me put out the camera and dance for it. I was like, no, I'm already doing it. And I think that's another thing, that when it comes to like being authentic online, and again about, let's say, when I started teaching stories, people would tell me, but Elsie, I cannot dance. It's not about dancing. It is about showing who you are and what your behind the scenes look like. Like, very often it is being at the beach with my dog, literally almost every day. It will be dancing. It's the boring things that for me are boring because it's part of my routine, right? But for someone else would be like, wow, I really see what she's doing, like behind the scenes. And the first time that I showed up on the stories ever, the first time I took my phone, it was after, I think there was a digital summit or something like that, or an interview, I don't remember. But I was using stories, but never taking my phone and speaking directly to it. I was, for some reason, very scared of that, even though I was doing live trainings already. And what I did is I went ahead, I poured myself a glass of wine, and I needed to have a little glass of wine for courage, then a second one, and that's when I actually took my phone and I was like, hi, hello. And I wasn't able to do that. Again, I have so much experience behind like my belt, under my belt, with like being on video, being on camera. I wasn't able to do it either. So it's something that, in order for you to be authentic, you need to be willing to do things that most people aren't willing to do. And I'm not saying drink, okay? I'm not promoting also, but I am saying just get out of your comfort zone and try to bring that onto the table, right? Like, what are the books that you're reading? What are the things that you enjoy? What are the places that you dream of, or the things that, maybe like the debates that you're having? Like, did you have a nightmare? Share that. Just really like try to, when you show up online, especially in stories, but when you're writing your content, when you're showing up on video, etc., just try to be like as if you're talking to one person. Like, I always imagine that my audience is my besties, and I'm just gonna share like something fun that has happened, something interesting, right? So a fun fact is that, like, currently, like, a lot of my clients, like all of my clients, my private clients, are between 4 to 5 figure investments. Yet all of them, like literally every single person, when we first connected and the moment that we clicked, it was over traveling plans, it was over moon rituals, it was over like zodiac signs or recipes. Like, it's never about just the sale, right? You need to build a human relationship with your audience authentically in order for them to feel comfortable and be ready to work with you. Because if I don't like you as a person, I'm not gonna come to be interviewed by you, or I'm not gonna ever work with you, I'm not gonna hire you, right? So that is why you need to show up authentically and not just business, business, business. You need
Yeah.
to show up authentically and show who you are in order to attract those 4 and 5 figure sales consistently by building relationships.
Yes. Another mic drop there. Yeah. Most of the people actually, who are afraid of doing videos, especially in stories, showing whatever is in happening in their life, including me, including
You're
me.
not alone.
Yeah, it's like showing your vulnerability of some sort, right? Like,
Yeah.
There is a level of how to say, level of being afraid of being rejected. Would they like me? Would they, would they accept me for who I am if
Thousand
I,
percent.
right? I mean, I'm just being honest. I mean, that is.
1000%. We all have it. Like to this day, after like running a six-figure business for like 4 years now, I'm online, I'm on multiple platforms. I've had probably altogether millions of people who saw my stuff through the years. Still sometimes, exactly as you said, the most authentic pieces, the most vulnerable pieces when you're truly yourself are the ones that are so difficult to just press post, right? To go ahead and just like click it. But my little hack is that you click it and you just throw your phone away. You just put it away. You don't look at it. Or you go to sleep and then next day it's already happened. Sorry. And very often exactly those are the pieces that you're going to get a bunch of messages, a bunch of reactions on, and really genuine relationships moving forward. So again, hard things make easy life.
Yeah. It's like sometimes you don't want to make it like, because they're doing it. So you're faking it. Like,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
I feel like I
It
will fake if I do the same thing as what they're doing. If you don't feel like showing up like that, why do it and then feel icky about it?
I know, but like especially in the beginning, what I would
Mm.
advise you is like literally take your phone and imagine if you're talking to just one person. Imagine like maybe a very hot lead who recently asked you about your offers and said I'll come back to you, or one of your private clients, someone who you know is really interested in your work, who's looking at you closely and you feel like genuinely comfortable with. Like don't imagine like friends or family because they're not relevant to business and
Yeah.
very often can make you more nervous, a lot more nervous.
Yeah.
Um, so you really want to focus on imagining like someone who is very interested in your business. If you haven't, if never, like if someone who's watching, like you've never had a lead before, that's totally fine. Imagine that unicorn client. Imagine someone who is like literally every word that comes out of your mouth is like, moment to write down, like epiphany moment. So you want to really imagine that one person, take your phone and you're talking to them, only to them. You're not talking to yourself. If you have to film with your back camera, so you don't even look at that, imagine that you're talking to them. So in your head, you visualize them and you talk to them like, hey, so I wanted to give you today 3 tips on how to be more comfortable on video. And you just want to show up and give them 3 tips and then ask them, was this helpful? That's it. And then over time, you will see you get more comfortable. It's like a muscle. You need to train it.
Yes, yes. Okay. I'm gonna listen to you. You know best. All right. Okay, so much of that. We'll go to the next topic. Soulful sales. Say goodbye to objection. Okay, let's show the topic now. All right. Say goodbye to objection handling for good. How is that? What do you mean
Exactly.
by soulful?
It is a great question and something that took me even as a sales coach, like I think actually exactly as a sales coach. The main thing I was teaching for the first like year or so was
Uh-huh.
attracting and then objection handling, getting
Yeah.
through the close, right? You want to close them. But I realized like one of the things that I teach, one of the strategies that I teach is also related to consumer psychology. And very often your ideal client is similar to you on some sort of state. Like maybe like they think the same, they have similar interests, like they resonate with you for a reason, right? You wouldn't
Uh-huh.
resonate with someone who has completely different beliefs and is completely different than you.
Yeah.
So on most levels, like your ideal client and you are somewhat similar. So when we observe consumer psychology is like, how do you buy? Like, what are you as a consumer? And that is always like a great research. Like every time you consume content online in general, it is also market research. So you want to see, let's say, every time you're scrolling to TikTok, what are the hooks that are catching my mind, right? It could be maybe like the hook is, let's say, the person is talking about makeup or about shopping or about traveling, but still the hook, like, okay, why did that catch my attention? Like, what about it, right? Every time you see an ad, and if you're like me, for some reason, I'm so weak when it comes to ads. I almost always, if it's because the ads are usually like $7 to $40, And almost always it's something that is like catchy, it's like a checklist or whatever, like a word bank. And then you go ahead and like you buy it, right? And then right before I buy it, or even after I buy it, I'll be like, why did I buy that? And you want to go ahead and really like analyze what are the things that make you buy. And what I analyzed for me, and actually the majority of people, is that we don't buy when someone is forcing us to buy. We don't buy when they're like in your face, like buy this is the price, like come in right now. No, we buy when we know what is in it for us and when we are addressed on like a genuine level. And also something that I teach is like, I'm not going to go too much in depth because I still have a lot to say, but something that I teach is also like a push and pull language in sales. So when you show up and you're like, hey, this is how this can help you. If you want, you know where to find me. It's not like join now, come on, faster. No, it's like, hey, push and pull, right? Like I'm telling you, like this is how it can help you. Like I'm showing up for you. Recently, I had a post in my Facebook group, I think a couple of weeks ago, that ruffled some feathers. I had a few people who did leave the community because it wasn't for them, and that's always actually a great thing for me because I don't want people who don't resonate with my message, right? I made a post about like one of my recent offers, like Slay with Video, which we're talking all about video. And it was something along the lines of like, this is what it can do for you. 1, 2, 3, 4, let's say benefits, not features, benefits. And then I was like, quite frankly, like I'm not promoting this because I care about your $300. I care about you and you being ahead of the curve. So if that's something you want to do, here is the link. And it was a little bit like push and pull. It was a little bit controversial because most people try to like seduce you into buying. And I'm like, I don't care about your money. If you want, join. If you don't want, don't join. I can't tell you what to do. I would love to help you. It's up to you, right? So this is one of the parts, and I'm not saying go ahead and do that because that is part of my brand, as we talked. Like I'm very, very expressive and very talkative, and this is personally how I would talk to my friends as well. I would be like, hey, if you want to do it, good. If you don't do it, don't. So what I analyzed is that first of all, we do that, right? Like we all buy differently, and like this is personally for my audience. Like my audience don't want sugar-coated. They don't want me to seduce them with my copy. They're like, if they see the benefit, they will sign up. That's it. And the other thing is that when it comes to consumer psychology is that we don't want to, like, personally, I hate when I tell someone, you know what, let's say, for example, now is not the time for me. Like, I'm not sure if I want to sign up right now. And they go, but when would be a better time? But why not now? How about if the time wasn't a problem and all of these like overused like objection handling questions and then trying to convince me out of my decision that I know best for me, and when I say it's not the time, like I hate people trying to convince me out of like what I thought. And I was like, then why do I do that to people? I would hate it if someone said, oh, I closed her as a client. No, you didn't close me. You welcomed me. We are working together, right? Like I'm not a teapot to be closed with like a cap or something.
Teapot, good one.
Like, what is that? And the moment like I had this like shift in my like understanding of marketing and sales, I started applying more and more in my own marketing and sales. And as I mentioned, like all of my clients, like 99% of my clients, if not all of them, we always connect over again. Like it could be a vegetarian diet. It could be like dogs because they saw dogs in my stories, or I saw a dog in their stories. And then I asked them about the name or whatever. And suddenly we're friends first, somewhat, right? We're like good acquaintances. And then when they come to me, they're usually sold. Like they're like, hey, Elsie, where do I sign? Like, here's my card. How do I do this? Or if we end up having a sales conversation and they tell me, you know what, Elsie, now is not the time. You know what I would say?
What? Tell me.
Okay. I would say, okay, if it's not the time, that's fine, right? You know where to find me. Whenever the timing is right, I'm here. Prices might change, the offer might change, but I will be here. So whenever the timing is right, you can find me. And if the time never comes, I'm fine with that too. Because a lot of people, I think the whole thing about objection handling and like closing is that a lot of people obsess over leads. Like if one person comes in your DMs right now and they ask you, hey, what is your membership, let's say, and then you tell them and they don't respond, people get like obsessed over this one person. They're like, oh, why didn't they sign up? And then they start like DMing them like, hey, are you still there? Hey, do you still want to join? I have this, I have that. And what that does is even if that person, maybe they were sick, Maybe they took a holiday. Maybe they took like a social media break. But when I look back and like I see these messages, I'll be like, you are that desperate? Like that means that your offer isn't good. If you need to check up on me so many times, that to me means that you're not confident in your offers. And if you're not confident in your offers, I'm not confident in your offers either, right? So that is why I'm not going to sign up. So that is why I stopped completely, like 90% of the chances of the times, if not more, I will not objection handle. If someone tells me like the price is too much right now, we can have a short conversation about like potentially payment plans, because it's something that I do believe that no one should ever sign up to work with me or with anyone for that matter and sacrifice food on the table or anything like that.
Mhm.
So if let's say the investment sounds like a lot for you right now, we can figure it out. How about if we split it into this many payments or this much? Would that help? If they say no, I'm like, okay, then have a good day. And that's it. And I'm not gonna hold a grudge. I'm not gonna chase them afterwards. I'm not gonna be following up with them unless of course we agree. There are scenarios in which we might agree. We might say, okay, let's touch base in a couple of weeks, in a couple of months, whatever, and we will. But if the time is not right, if it's too expensive, if their spouse disagreed, whatever the most common objections are,
Yeah.
I will let them go, because I believe in abundance. I believe if they're not for me or I'm not for them, someone else will come around, right? So instead of like chasing them, I will be focusing on delivering value for the people who will come to me. And then that person is very likely that if you don't chase them and you don't go after them, it's very likely that they will come back. Very, very often they do come back. Not always, but again, we are not like, it's okay, not everybody is for us. And actually, like recently, relatively recently, I had a situation where there was someone in our industry that I really look up to. They're far further ahead from me, and they had like a mastermind running. And I was considering it, but I wasn't clicking anything, I wasn't doing anything, right? So the person messaged me and they're like, hey, I would love to have you there. This is a personal invitation. And it's a mastermind that
Mhm.
you get inside with an invitation. So of course, like personally, I'm flattered. Thank you very much for the invitation, but I need to consider it. And I don't remember. I think I told them that I need a couple of weeks because I was recently like investing into something else. And then like let's say I told them 2 weeks and they were back in like 1 week and 6 days, like right back, right? And I was like, thank you so much for following up with me. They know, like the person knows because we have a connection, let's say. They know that I know who they are. They know that I've considered it. They know that I'm honored in it. So let it be, right? Let it be. And I was considering it. But the second time and then the third time that they came back to my inbox being like, hey, you said another couple of weeks or you said another month or you said like beginning of January. Are you ready now? I was like, I'm really, really sorry, but I think it's not something that is for me at this stage. I don't think I'm interested at the moment. And a lot of people also teach that you want to like objection handle and follow up
Yeah.
until you get to the no.
I have
But I
thought like that.
right? But personally, I think that also again as a consumer, maybe it's different for everyone, but for me as a consumer, the more you follow up with me, the further away you scare me away,
Yeah. That's my
right?
observation as well. That's
Yeah,
my observation as well. And it's
exactly.
quite draining, actually, for me. It's quite draining. Like, what are these people doing? If you don't like, just say no. And just come back again. And then,
Yeah, but I mean, it's very often there is the concept that like prospects lie, which is true.
mm,
Like very often, and think about it again, like from your own perspective. Let's say you're shopping for a car, and then
mm,
you end up like seeing a car that you like, but you're not sure if it's like the one for you. And then the salesperson is like, "Hey, are you ready? Are you ready?" And you're gonna say, "Oh no, it's too expensive," just so you can get him off, or you will say,
yeah.
"I'll come back later," and then you will not come back later. So it's normal. Like people lie for the sake of not hurting your feelings, which is very sweet. But I don't think that we should go for the no. If they say not now or whatever, I just let them go. And I believe in a more soulful approach of following up and handling objections, which is like let's talk like two humans. I'm not the salesperson here trying to close you. No, I'm someone who can give you a hand and help you in your business if you're willing to invest in yourself. Let's talk about it. That's it. Even my
Yeah.
sales calls, sorry to interrupt. Even my sales calls, I always start with a similar sentence. I always say, like, this is not a typical sales coach or sales call. We're just going to chat and see if this is potentially for you. Not to work together. I'm like, if this is even something that could work for you. And sorry,
Yeah.
I interrupted you.
No,
What did
it's
you?
okay. It's okay. It's like I'm just gonna say that. It's like you're not gonna close a friend, right? When you're
Exactly.
talking to a friend, and you want to help a friend. It's not like closing a friend.
Exactly.
Okay, you're sold. I'm gonna help you.
Yeah, and you don't want to be close to yourself either. So like, why do it to people? Like, why would you do to someone something that you don't want being done on yourself?
Yeah. So like if I do that, right? If I ask somebody, okay, I'm doing this, I have this right now, and it's gonna help you. I want to help you, blah blah blah, and then they would you like to know more? So I ask like that, and then they will say, okay, sorry, not today, not at that stage. Now I'll just say, okay, thank you very much for letting me know. That's it.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
But they're waiting. Toot, toot, toot. because I think they were most of the people
Hmm.
um, are already trained to receive lots of messages like that. When they say no, thank you, and then they there's a follow up, right? There's always a follow up message. So
Yeah.
it's like somebody came back to me. How come you never messaged me again? You said no. You said no.
Exactly.
You said no. So
And
why would I?
I do believe in some sort of follow up, but a lot more soulful, a lot more genuine, and completely different than the question marks and the hey, are you ready now?
Yeah, quite true. All right. Now we move on to the third topic. All right. Which is creating magnetic brand authority. Go ahead, Coach
Yeah.
Elsie.
Sorry, it froze for a second. I was like, sorry. Yeah, so when talking about like a magnetic personal brand or magnetic brand authority, right? There are a couple of things that we kind of touched up on, but I do believe that there is a magic formula. When you think about every successful person in your field or in your niche or in our industry, right? When you think
Mhm.
about everyone who's made it versus everyone who hasn't. There are people who are online for years and years. Like there are people who've been online for 5, 10 years, right? And
Right.
they're still working on a job and they're still like not being able to break it. It's not that one is special, the other isn't. It's not that one has something, the other doesn't. Absolutely not. It's not that one is smarter. No, both are the same. But the only difference are the three things. The first thing is pattern interruption, which is something that we talked about earlier. It
Mhm.
is finding what is different about you, what different thing can you bring to the market. Like, is there, for example, the when I started creating the stories course, I realized that that was the pattern interruption that was needed. I realized that nobody knew enough about this thing, so I saw the need in the market, which is what entrepreneurs should be trained to do. I saw the need in the market, I saw, the possibility, and I went for it, right? So you need to find some sort of pattern interruption. You cannot be like everyone else trying to copy everyone else. It doesn't work, right? You need to find what's unique about you and really shine with that. The second aspect is identity capital, and it's a relatively new term that I once I explain it, you understand what it is. But I saw it on TikTok actually. I heard that and I was like, this makes so much sense. I didn't know that there is a word for that. So identity capital, to explain it in short, is basically you and all of your like personal branding, right? It's like who you are at your core. Like that is your identity capital. So when you're growing your identity capital is when you're trying different things, when you're reading about different topics, is when you're traveling. That is when you're basically growing your identity capital, right? So everyone is focusing on, capital when it comes to money and things like that, but your identity is the one thing that no one can take away from you. So when you shine with authenticity is when you're actually shining with your identity capital. It's when you're, again, like let's say the dancing example. When I show up like this is part of me, like I've been taking dancing classes since I remember myself. This is what I do all day long. Like this is part of my personality, right? This is what makes you interesting. This is what makes you you. Then let's say someone else might be really into golfing and also cooking and also something else. Like when they're showing those aspects of themselves, like that is their identity capital. Is, let's say, when it comes to dating, for example, like if you go on a date with someone and they literally have a job, and that's it. Like they don't have anything, like they don't like to cook, they don't like to go for walks, they don't like to go to the gym, like they have nothing about them, like they don't have identity capital. And the ones who actually have all those interests, and again, that also connects with the fact that like I teach a lot of like having fun and running a business rather than running a business and then whatever time you have running and like to actually have fun, is prioritizing fun, prioritizing your mental health, prioritizing like enjoyment in life, whatever that looks for you, right? And it doesn't have to be exciting, it doesn't have to be bungee jumping or anything like that, even though it's actually something I did last year for the first time. It was very scary. It was so scary right before you go up, but then suddenly when you're going down, it's magical, it's so amazing, you feel like a bird. But those are the things that kind of like add on to your identity capital, right? Again, I'm not saying this is like the example of what you want to do. It could be just reading books on different topics, or listening to podcasts, or watching YouTube channels, or having experimented, or having traveled, right? That is the second thing, that people who are successful online, let's say for example, or in general successful, Elon Musk, like as a great example, like he would never be able to be a CEO of X many companies unless he was interested in all of these different topics, right?
Yeah,
which
true.
makes him an amazing conversation, like person to have a conversation with. Every time you see an interview with him, he can resonate with everyone, anyone. He could have a conversation about anything. He has genuine knowledge. Like it can be tiny bit of like common knowledge, but he knows a lot about a lot of different topics. His identity capital is through the roof, right? So very often people focus on like trying to be like everyone else again. But what you have to focus on is just like increasing your own personal identity capital. And the third thing, the third aspect, again, like the first one is pattern interruption, something that is different, something that will make people stop and be like, okay, I'm listening, right? It's the same with your hooks. Your hooks are some sort of like pattern interruption, because we scroll, we're like, oh, that's interesting. So pattern interruption. The second aspect is identity capital, which is what makes you unique, interesting. It can be anything. It could be maybe you're a huge dog lover. Maybe you love interior design. Maybe you read about different topics. Maybe you're great at poetry. Whatever it is, right? It can be pottery, anything, gardening. And last but not least, it is, pardon my language, but big balls.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
Courage.
What do you have?
Big ones.
All right.
That is the third aspect, because you can be, and that is honestly like the main difference. Like, of course, identity capital and pattern interruption are things that have helped them get there. But the difference between the people who really go for it and succeed and the ones who wanna but don't is the fact that they have the courage. The ones who succeed go ahead and like are not afraid to make a mistake. They're not afraid to share a blooper. They're not afraid to look stupid, because let's face it, sometimes we will. You know how many times I will look back to like maybe something I said in the beginning stages, or an interview that I've done, and I said something that's like so ridiculous. I look back, I'm like, what was I thinking? How could I teach people that? How could I preach that? And that actually is a great sign, because that shows growth. That means that I'm not still talking about the same thing I was 4 years ago. That means that I've evolved, my audience has evolved, and I'm helping and I'm teaching something that is better. Because let's say social media is changing every single day. There are new updates, there are new social media like accounts and profiles and strategies and things. So you want to make sure that in order to stay ahead of the curve, you're not talking about the same thing again and again and again, that you are evolving, and so is your audience, right? So those are the three things, in my opinion, that make up an authentic magnetic personal brand. It's pattern interruption, it is identity capital, and it is just courage, big goals that really help you to show up and try different, right? Because it's not the first time that you're going to show up online that you're going to be successful. As I mentioned before, like, again, I don't consider myself exactly successful. I know that I found success in my business and it supports myself and my family very well, but I'm still like, I have a long way to go. My dreams are big, right? And you know, we're just at the beginning. So,
Well,
but
mine is like, you're here, I'm here.
so what? Everyone starts somewhere. And like the thing is that, you know, very often people see where you are today. Let's say people see, okay, she is a multiple six-figure business owner. She's showing up confidently online. So she must be born with it. Absolutely freaking not. Like, as I mentioned before, I think it took me 10 years to actually start some sort of an online business. I've had Airbnb businesses before. I've been a live presenter for 3.5, 4 years, which
Mhm.
means that this I was doing for a living, right? Like speaking on camera and presenting. I've done sales for a long time. I studied business, so I had all of this like experience behind my
Mhm.
belt. I tried many different businesses before. I was trying to be a translator. I was learning how to use Canva years before I start my business. I know how to use Photoshop. All of these things and skills that I taught would help me, but they didn't. All of those mini business ventures that I would try and they would fail. And still, when I started online, there was still another year until I started making consistent revenue and could actually support myself with my business. So very
Mhm.
often we see that and we tend to compare someone's chapter 700 to our chapter 1, right? And just because we see, like, for example, again, like you might see, okay, she's been online for 3 years or 4 years, but it doesn't mean that I don't have a lot more experience before that has
Yeah.
actually helped me get here, right? And still the only thing that was stopping me from getting here sooner was courage, was actually taking action, was actually putting myself out there. And I don't know if that was the case for you, but I know for me and for a lot of coaches, it's the hardest thing in the world was to come out as a coach online, like to change my Facebook cover and to actually share with like family and friends, like I'm a coach now. So terrifying. Like, did you go through
Really?
that?
I can't yet. I have a lot of knowledge that I want to teach and I want to share, but I'm still the but
It is so normal. Like it is the most terrifying
not
thing in the
yet. I
world.
say always not yet. Since last year, not yet, not yet.
Oh. But you have it now. You have your cover photo and everything is about coaching. So you're
Is
good.
it? No, not yet.
You're doing great.
All right. Ah, okay, this is so much fun. You know the feeling when everything is already set up. Your workflow and automations were all tested and working. Your funnels and course area are all set up. Your client onboarding is fully automated. You feel so excited and all that. Then crickets, 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 right? Nobody's coming and paying attention. Now, this topic will surely help us attract clients. So, I'm not going to summarize what had been discussed. Okay. You then have to watch the replay. I hope everyone learned a lot today and be inspired. So, for those who came in late, again, do watch the replay. There are a lot of mic drops moment, okay, in this interview, in this live expert interview with Coach Elsie. I've been dreaming about this since last year I started. Yeah, so this is a very informative episode. So every guest speaker whom I had invited in this live expert interview is by design. I actually go to their DM and bag them. And, come on, let me interview. So it had really helped me with my mindset and had prepared me to move forward. It had inspired me to get better and better in what I do. And my guests are all inspiring. Okay. It had helped me to be where I am right now. And this is what I envisioned for you all too. So you could move your business forward like I'm moving, even if it's just a snail movement. But we're moving, right? All right, going back to Coach Elsie. Do you have any current offers right now that you would like to share with our audience? You please do invite them.
So first of all, I would love to invite anyone watching live or on replay to join my free Facebook group. Just mind that you need to answer the questions and be accepted. Otherwise, you won't be accepted. So you need to answer the questions. There are three very simple questions. So feel free to join my group. I do weekly live trainings almost every week. There is hours upon hours of training in there that you can learn for absolutely free. that probably I could even charge for at this point.
Oh.
Right. So first of all, feel free to join my group and learn from me for free. And some of the current offers that I'm running, there is Slay with Video, that is all about slaying with video. That will teach you how to utilize reels, stories, and really get comfortable on that. And there are parts of it that teach you how to create video content without having to do the nerve-wracking hi, and pick up your phone. You can film all different types. So we really dive deeper into the psychology of what performs well, what doesn't, what you consume, what your audience will consume, and make sure that you can save time online. So you can film a few videos within like 2 hours of your week and then have 1 or 2 weeks of content just ready done for you. So that is Slay with Video. It has helped a lot of my clients to get incredible results. Another one that is currently in promotion is Soulful Sales Mastery. That is all about promoting your business consistently and soulfully. So as we talked earlier, like how to follow up in a soulful way, which is not about like chasing. It's about like checking up on them, right? It's all about promoting your offers consistently. It's about tracking your results, because the truth is that if you want to have a successful business online, you need to be able to track your key performance indicators, and you need to know like when is your next dollar going to come in, instead of just guessing it and hoping for it, right? So we build
We can do that with that. Wow.
we build those systems for you in the back end by really like experimenting and seeing what works for you, in order for you to be able to build residual income, in order for you to be able to onboard more clients, to create more offers, and really like make your audience happier, while also you gain your time back and you make a lot more money. So these are the two main ones that I'm running a promotion of course, but just hop in my DMs if you have any questions, or go to my group and keep an eye on me.
All right. Here is where you can find Coach LC in Facebook. Okay. I'm going to run that there. All right. Does your promotion or your offers in the link tree as well, the one that we're running?
Yeah. They should
It's
be
in there? Okay,
Mhm.
it's in there. All right. Now, do you have a goal or personal message that you can share with our audience, aside from all the value bombs that you've already given?
A personal message, like final words of inspiration, something like that. Yeah.
Something like that.
I think summarizing everything we talked about, or at least a part of it, would be, if I could, like, if after watching this interview, if after watching this 1 hour of training,
Yep.
you could do one thing for me, or for yourself actually, is to do one thing that you've been afraid of doing. It could be taking your phone and showing up on stories. It could be going live. It could be openly selling, because a lot of people are terrified of openly promoting and selling their offers. It could be following up with someone soulfully. Something that you've been afraid of doing. Just go ahead, get out of your comfort zone, because again, like, courage is the one thing that really separates those two. Like the one who is somewhat successful and the one who's really successful. Think about Elon Musk. What would Elon Musk do? Like, think about him as your spirit animal and what he would do. and yeah, just go after it. Go and try to do one thing that you've been afraid of.
Right. Selling your product.
Exactly. That's what most people are terrified of.
Yes.
That's what
I am very terrified of selling my product.
Really?
I am putting it out there, but I cannot talk about it.
Tell me about your product. Tell me, Ritz. I want to know.
All right. My latest product right now is about 30 days content, social media content.
I want to know. Maybe I want to buy it. Tell me.
It's called SMM30 Alpha Social. It's
Okay.
a 3-month subscription. That will definitely give you an on-brand, social media content. So you don't have to think about what you need to put out there. So, that will also increase your brand awareness and your, high authority. Yeah, something like
This is the part that you want to start with. That was perfect. You want to tell me what it can do for me. And you mentioned like so that it will take the guesswork out of content creation or something like
Yes.
that. You can create authentic social media presence. Sold. You're doing great. That was great.
All right. No, thank you. Thank you. That's instant advice. Thank you, Coach. As much as we want to hang out with Coach Elsie, it is time to wrap up, ladies and gentlemen. Um, Again, Coach Elsie, please invite our audience again to your offer or remind them how can they work with you.
Yeah, so again, I think the link is running down the screen. You can just find me on Facebook, send me a friend request. Let's be besties. You're more than welcome to join my free Facebook community. Also, there is a lot of free information on there. Weekly live trainings. There's hours upon hours of past training of like 3 years of training, of weekly training. And of course, if you want to know more about my offers, again, you can check my link tree. You can ask me. If you want to get more comfortable with video or more comfortable with selling your offers, I'm your girl.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, this Coach Elsie Nora. Okay, stay tuned, everyone, next week for another episode of Talking Business with Ritz. Where is it? Sorry. Okay. Pardon me. I pressed the wrong button. Okay, stay tuned, everyone, next week for another episode of Talking Business with Ritz, where we share value bombs to help you get closer to success. All right, please visit Coach Elsie's Facebook profile here and make sure to check her courses, masterclasses, and one-on-one consulting. Okay. All right. Thank you very much for watching. This is Ritz Loreto Rectra and Coach Elsie Nora. Stay safe and healthy. See you in the next episode of Talking Business with Ritz. Don't go away. Don't go away.